Well, I'm ready for my big trip in Europe. Got my reservations as is required for the major trains in Southern Europe, and I got my rail pass with a 20% discount with that after Thanksgiving promotion. Heads up, it's valid only 6 months thereafter, so it's pretty tight timing. And the reservations I made this time new on the Rail Europe site for the reservations with the Rail Pass. Eurail also does that, but they charge $5 extra per ticket, and secondly, it's only exclusively for their customers. Well, one of the things I did do is I got a particular reservation between Vigo and Porto, Spain and Portugal. International train. I happen to know that that's free. The others seem to be priced at a minimum of $10, and that applied particularly to one train, which I happen to know is €6.50. With the currency conversion, that's about 7-8, so it's worth it. But in this case, it's free, so it's worth waiting in line. The others, I note that you will see that there's here some PDF electronic tickets. Still have to go online. Major exception, Italy. Go to Trainitalia site. No fees. You get them as a PDF file, only for trains in Italy. And as always, you have to make the reservations for Portuguese trains in Portugal. And frankly, you can just get on board and pay the €5 extra. I'm here in the party town of Torremolinos in the south of Spain, some 20 minutes west of Malaga. And I'll be taking the Cercanía, that's the commuter train, back into Malaga. Yes, that is the train station. It's underground here. Unlike most of the other commuter trains in Europe, these are not listed either on the German BAHN site nor on the Rail Planner. For those listings, you've got to go to the Renfe, RENFE site, and they're listed in their separate categories, Cercanías, by region. And be reminded that in Spain for the last couple of years, the Renfe stations have been renamed literally after the administrative arm, ADIF. And going back on the Cercanía commuter train, you don't go to the end central. I made that mistake the first time. You want to go to the stop before, not unlike, say, Brussels. And on your ticket, it's abbreviated MZ, and for you non-Americans, that says Zeta, or here, Zamba. In connecting between Spain and Portugal, there used to be 3 ways. Now there's really only 2. One of those was the route of the Lusitania, the train that went from Madrid to Portugal via this route. No longer. It now combines with the route of the Sud Express, combining here at Medina del Campo. The Sud Express was a wonderful train, had wonderful food service, a complete course with parenderos and party people. Now they serve little bags of frozen, God knows, awful monstrosities. And it costs twice as much to take that reservation than if you went via Vigo, which now is 2 hours faster. Also, the train from Vigo to Porto is 2 hours faster and has no reservation charge. So staying in Vigo overnight is an advantage, which I think is far better than taking the overnight train. Here at Atocha in Madrid, you can do a little shortcut by taking the airport train. You are showing your pass. It does stop also at Chamartín, the northern station. In taking trains between Chamartín, the northern station that goes to the west, and Atocha, trains that go to the south and the east, higher speed, a little trick is if you want to, get on the closest coach, be at the rear end of the train. You'll see what I mean if you try it. Here at Madrid's northern Chamartín station, you can go freely to and from the regional commuter Cercanía trains, although it doesn't mean you're going to get away with anything. You still need the ticket, the etiquette, if you will, which you get showing your Eurail pass, both the enter and exit elsewhere. Here in Vigo, the capital of Spain's Galicia region, the train stations now, after some renovation, include Vigo Guixar, that's with an X, and the former ancient main station way up the hill, Urseis, with that's 2 Z's, Zetas, if you will. The latter being for some high-speed trains to Santiago de Compostela, and otherwise you probably want to be using Vigo Guixar for international service, Madrid, etc. Interestingly, these two stations are not combined when using the various timetable search services, so you probably want to designate this one. This is the international train connecting Vigo, Spain to Porto Portugal. It's labeled a Celtic service, but as you can see, it's a Portuguese urban train. It makes far fewer stops than the regional milk run, and the reservations for it, even if you go to the Portuguese site, still direct you to the Spanish site. But again, you can make the reservations for your pass, which are free, but you have to do those in person. As we cross over the river into Portugal, we'll be arriving in Valence, not to be confused with the similarly named Spanish or French versions, and we'll be arriving before the time we left, which is my oblique way of reminding you that in Portugal, like the British Isles, they're an hour earlier than Central European time. Here at Porto Campaña, connecting to and from Spain to Lisbon, we have a chance to go visit down to Porto São Pinto with probably the best Portuguese ceramic azulejos of all the stations in Portugal. And I've done them all. Look up portugalazulejos.tumblr.com. Only some 5 minutes away and one stop from Porto Campaña. Here, this is Porto São Pinto. I'm taking this faster Alpha service to Lisbon, 3 stops instead of 8 or 10 on the inner city. Your rail pass has the same supplement fare, €5 regardless, and the ticketing, well, it's been revised a little bit. It's now on a kind of electronic form, and it says Conforto. That means first class here in Portugal, as opposed to, say, in Spain, where you see Preferente. The heart of Lisbon-Lisboa is Rocio. This is the commuter train station, not far from the metro, of which there's one over there, another one there, and another one a little over there. And by the way, they now have a far closer connection to the ultimate train station in Lisbon, Santa Apollonia. Here, by the way, you can use these escalators to get about up to a third the way up the mountain if you want to save that part of the thing. You know, this train station happens to be one of the few in Portugal that seems not to be aware of the ability to use your rail pass. That's okay, just buy the 1 unit fare using a little tap card. And I think they maybe do that is because the Portuguese trains have free correspondence to the suburban trains, but that's only up to Sete Rios. For major Portuguese trains going to Lisbon, this is the penultimate stop, the main station, if you will, Oriente. And if you go downstairs, you know, you can change your ticket once without charge. Boy, the ticket counters, they play peekaboo. They're in little tiny kiosks facing the wrong way. I'm here at Madrid's northern station, Chamartín, where I'm stopping at this chain of sandwich shops, Pans & Company. They're found throughout most of Spain. They make the best chicken sandwich. There's also one available outside Barcelona Saints, across the street. Unlike, say, Madrid Atocha, which has a huge, long sandwich shop, worst I've ever tried. I only give bad reviews when I've tried it 3 times and it failed horribly. Today I'm traveling in, well, it's actually Preferente first class, but on the AVE they actually have Preferente, and then they're calling this Tourist Plus. That's actually without the meal, and that means the supplement's the same charge as I've been traveling in second or tourist class. And, you know, €20 meal, I'll take this one. Here in Barcelona Saints, well, first of all, you got to realize there's 3 sets of train boards, regional trains, long distance trains, and then your local Cercanía commuter trains. Oh, by the way, outside, across the street, Pans & Company, great little sandwiches. This is Paris's Gare de Lyon for high-speed trains to the south. The other 3 of 6 stations that have high-speed trains are Montparnasse, Gare du Nord, Gare de l'Est. You can figure out where those go. In the case of going to Gare du Nord, you could take the RER, that's a commuter train, direct, one stop. If you want to go to Montparnasse, you could take the metro. 2 changes, more than a dozen stops. You know what a better bet is? Go over here and catch the scenic bus. It's also faster. Stations such as Austerlitz and Saint-Lazare have slower speed trains. I'm here in Paris's Gare du Nord, and look at that line as you go through airplane type control to board the Eurostar. They mean it when they say 20 minutes in advance. By the way, you get a far better fare if you go on their site in advance compared to the paltry savings with a Eurail pass. You have, oh, there's the Thalys over there. Boy, is that also expensive. One of the highest reservation charges on the continent. That can be avoided going to, say, Amsterdam, Brussels. If you go to Lille, either L'Europe or Flanders, and then change to inner-city service in Brussels. If you want to continue on to Amsterdam, likewise using inner-city service. For travel to Cologne, again, that Thalys is expensive. I'm going to be going over to the Gare de l'Est, going via Mannheim, far cheaper. Here in Gare de l'Est, I'm taking the high-speed German train to Mannheim, saving me quite a bit from the Thalys. And if you have a domestic ticket in France, you're supposed to put it in there, control it. It's composté dans le compostage. Wait a minute, this is an electronic ticket. You don't need to do that. So you're making a reservation and you want to make a reservation for the French trains, which is pretty difficult to do in Spain because their computers are down, and it seems like the German systems don't handle the peak load pricing of the French trains. And here I am in Cologne, and same problem. Oh, wait a minute! You can go over here to the Thalys store, which is actually a SNCS office, the French train office, if you will, and you make your reservations there. I've done it many times. Very fast and easy. Well, I've verified that there's no need for a reservation on the ICE train between Brussels, Bruxelles, and Cologne, Köln. The site for the rail planner and the Eurail reservation service say it's needed. That's still not the case. By the way, here at Brussels Nord, the ICE stops, unlike the Thalys train, making a better connection to downtown Central, of which I should remind you that the big station is called Brussels Midi or Sud. This is Brussels' main train station, Bruxelles Midi or Brussels South. That's with a ZZZ. By the way, Midi, many people confuse it. The French use the word Midi for the word south because of its proximity to the Mediterranean. This station, you notice there's a line already to get your international reservations. I've found more than a half dozen times hostile, incompetent service here. Go to the central station, where you probably want to do that anyhow, given it's central, and they have excellent service, competent, and there's never a line. In Germany, the use of Wi-Fi has now been made generally available on high-speed trains, but only in the country itself. The other country in Portugal. Do be reminded you can get your rail planner download from your Eurail pass, and it's free. And secondly, it works offline, so you don't have to be connected. It has just about everything in Europe except commuter trains in Spain. For those, they're called Cercanía, you need to go to the renfe.es site. So as often the case in going into Berlin, one might want to go to the Zoologische Garten, which used to be the main train station, and as usual, the rail planner and the Bahn.de site suggest making a change at Spandau. But of course, with the lateness as indicated on the indicator board, that possibility is now moot. Moreover, it becomes problematic in that Spandau has 2 trains leaving at identically the same time, and that an indication for which one goes to Zoologische Garten. I've taken the wrong one more than once. You do want to go to Cottbus.
The problem with Spandau is it's in the middle of nowhere, has absolutely no services. But now we have the Rail Planner Guide, which is in paper. It'll be a wonder how much longer that exists. And you go into the main train station, the Hauptbahnhof. Notice I've underscored all the availabilities. Probably one of the biggest and most available services available in a train station in Europe. This is Berlin's Zoologischer Garden, Zoo for short. Used to be the main train station before the new, as opposed to old, Hauptbahnhof. You probably want to go to the Hauptbahnhof instead of changing at Spandau. There's nothing in Spandau. You're stuck in the middle of nowhere. The indicators are not always obvious. This one goes to Frankfurt Oder. That's not Frankfurt, Maine. That's heading east. That's what you want to do. Also, Cottbus is one, and Schönefeld, the airport. Not to be confused with Tegel, that's bus only. This is the truly amazing, relatively new Berlin, Maine Hauptbahnhof. East-west trains, subway trains, S-Bahn go east-west upstairs. North-south trains go down there. Probably more different shops in any train station I've ever been in. I'm going to be taking, instead of the ICE fast trains or the regional trains, I'm looking for the Eurocity, which you can take to Prague. That's well worth the journey. But here's one. I like to take it to Hamburg. Yes, it's maybe 15, 20 minutes slower, except during road work. That's a little tip. But you get a little bit of culture, and what's that on about another hour journey? Here in Hamburg, choices going to and from Cologne, Köln are, well, you could take the direct route, about almost a dozen stops, intercity normal train, or you could take the express train with a change in Hanover. It's really about 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. Here is the specially designed Danish service to Copenhagen, Kopenhagen from Hamburg. It's labeled a Eurocity, whereas the ICE German version is also available. It's the boat train, you know. And by the way, this version, you probably do need reservations given the peculiar design. Very confusing.